Good morning. It is a beautiful Monday at the Hyatt house, and we are already kicking it in gear. So this week we are continuing to work on those drop ceilings we had to do, adding lots of blocking. And the other thing that I have shifted my attention to is lighting. I've shared with you that hopefully we're going to get the electrician in here soon. So I've got to come up with my lighting plan, figure out exactly where I want recessed lights, where I'll have a chandelier. Then I've got to start thinking about receptacles. So that's a big undertaking. I have a pretty good idea in my mind for most of the rooms, but like this one, this is that main bedroom sitting and dressing area. And that vent ended up pretty much right where a chandelier should be. So now I've got to decide, do I want to move it over a little bit? Do I want to recess the lights? And then at the same time, I'm also online shopping for the right lights. So got to make a big spreadsheet with everything, so all the specs are in one spot. Good morning, y'all. It's a new day over at the Hyatt house. I'm not really sure what is going on here, but the city has a good showing. So this morning the HVAC guys are coming back over, and we are going to try to figure out how to solve that challenge in that guest bathroom. The stuff that's coming up through the walls, that's not going to work. So we're going to work on a way to figure that out. We are still dropping ceilings, and I'm still working on a lighting plan. So that's what we're doing today. Let's go inside. Second floor. Still in this guest room. After we finally got the ceiling dropped, now we're doing the blocking in here. You remember we had blocked, added all this dead wood everywhere else in the house, but we couldn't do it in the rooms where we were dropping the ceilings. So finishing that up. I don't know what the city's doing other than cutting a big hole in the concrete. It could be something to do with the fact that we don't have a sewage clean out anywhere around here. So maybe that's what they're doing. We'll keep investigating. Okay, y'all. So the HVAC guys, as promised, they fixed this problem. They were able to get these a little more separated, tuck them in. Now they still come out, but they're much more in line with our plumbing there, right there. So that gives us a little over an 8-foot ceiling. You can see where we've already started dropping this ceiling. We've got to actually move that water line now just a little bit so we can get our last joist in here. But this ceiling has been dropped. That ceiling is finished being dropped, and all the dead wood has been put in. And then you remember in here, we just boxed out right here where the ceiling will be just a little bit lower over the toilet, which is good, you know. The guys are working downstairs now. They're dropping the ceiling that's directly under this bathroom where all of this plumbing is running and connecting right there in that web of plumbing. And they also tore up the floor in the mudroom. So let's go down there and I'll show you. So here's that next ceiling that we've got to drop. It's under those two bathrooms I just showed you. Unfortunately, we are gonna have to drop the ceiling in Mrs. Hyatt's parlor. All because the fall on this toilet had to come below that stud. You see how it's notched into that stud? So we've got to drop the ceiling about 1.5 inches, which is not a huge loss. It's just an awful lot of lumber and an awful lot of labor to drop it in this whole ceiling. But sometimes you have to make concessions. All right, so they tore up the floor in this mud room. This was a hardwood floor, but number one, the hardwoods were not in really good shape. And number two, they matched the hardwoods in there. Actually, that's the pile we pulled up, and in there. So by taking those up, we were able to save the good boards that we can use to patch in the office and the wallpaper room. And then I'll just go back with a new floor in here. It's a mud room anyway, so you want something a little water resistant. I told to you guys before about how I was worried about deflection in the floors. So I probably won't be able to tile this. I'll probably have to use like an LVT or an LVP, probably an LVT. But the good thing is this stuff's in pretty good shape. We know it's old, but it's pretty solid. This, of course, was an old back porch. So this floor had some slope. It sloped about 3 inches from here to there. So the guys put some blocks and some shims in there and jacked it up a little bit. So now we don't have that slope running to the back door. And you can see there's a lot happening under there with duct work and plumbing, and we haven't even started electrical. So lots of stuff happening under the house. All right, it's another day at the Hyatt house, but it's pretty much the same old stuff. We are still working on dropping those ceilings, but I have good news. My electrician is coming tomorrow. So I'm gonna spend most of the day finalizing my electrical plan, making sure I have a pretty good idea of what light fixtures is going where. But let's go inside and see if the guys we'll see what they've accomplished and see if they've discovered any new challenges. So they are using old lumber that we had left over from other projects in the house, which is awesome. I love being resourceful, not spending any more money than we have to. So they are taking these old pieces and they're ripping them down. So you can see we're having to, we're gonna cut along that red line and rip them down and make use of what we already have. Once they're ripped down, hello, Gio. They're going up here. So you can see where they're working on that. So I think I told you we didn't have to drop the ceiling much at all. Just that one little drain right there. So this is going pretty quick, right? Yep, going pretty quick. And they got this one dropped. Remember I showed you this, they were working on it yesterday. We got this dropped, so we're in good shape. So I showed you where we took those floors up in the mudroom, and we are using them, the pieces that are good enough, to patch this. We're in the wallpaper room that did not look very good. So you can't just take one up. You guys remember that from before. You gotta take a lot of them up to get them back in. So Giovanni is working hard on that. Meanwhile, the other guys are working under the house. They are leveling up these floors just a little bit, which is great. And they already did the mudroom. Now it looks like they're working in the office, but it's tricky because, as I've said before, we've got that web of stuff under the house. The electricians are here too, which is great. We started yesterday. We did a full walkthrough and talked about everywhere that we need, where we need switches and lights and receptacles. So progress happening there as well. All right, so the electricians have been at work. They have started mapping out all of our switches for our lights. They've started thinking about receptacles and putting in gang boxes. There are so many doors in this house that there's constantly like, you know, we got to have a switch here and we got to have a switch at that end. In our kitchen, we're going to have several switches there and receptacles and all kind of things. So it's a start on electrical. I showed you that Gio was working on those floors back there. He's almost finished with that. And we got all these ceilings dropped and they are working back here. We jacked this up the other day. They're gonna work to jack up these other floors. So that is our projects for today. Bam, Gio is so good. You can't even tell that he patched these floors. There was like a weird, ugly patch here. There was a metal plate covering up a hole there. This looks so good, Gio. So good. Good job. Look, he's already thinking about the next project. Looks great. So we used the wood that we pulled up from in there. And the next task is going to be to work on the floors in the wooden room. This is an excellent day's work. It's funny, little things like this, they always take so much longer than you thought they were going to do. But in the end, when these floors are refinished, it is absolutely going to be worth it. Hey y'all, we are wrapping up. See the guys, they're packing up. We are wrapping up another good week at the Hyatt house. I am so excited that we got some electrical work done this week. So making some progress there. The guys worked hard to get all those ceilings dropped, and we have almost finished up our plumbing. We finished up our HVAC. So we had a great week, and I look forward to seeing what we accomplish next week. So come back then and see what's happening at the Hyatt house.